Tulsi Gabbard, I don't know if you know who Tulsi Gabbard is, but she was a part of the DNC. And she dropped out of the DNC, Democratic National Committee, so she could go support Bernie Sanders because she recognized the need and that we had a moment and we had to take it because the country's falling apart. And she did it, and she was immediately ostracized by the Democrats, meaning Debbie Wasserman Schultz and Donna Brazil's and the Hillary Clintons and the whole thing. She's a pariah because she did the right thing. Because she decided to back a progressive. Now here she is talking about marijuana. She talks about this. She talks about things in a way that I like to hear politicians talk about them in an honest and straightforward way. So here she is. This is what she did
today to urge my colleagues to support H.R. 1227, the Ending Federal Marijuana Prohibition Act, which I've introduced with my Republican colleague, a fellow Army veteran and former prosecutor from the state of Virginia, Congressman Tom Garrett, where we are seeking to address our outdated and widely problematic marijuana laws by federally decriminalizing marijuana. FBI reports have shown that in 2011 alone, an individual in the United States was arrested for marijuana use, sale, or possession every 42 seconds.
Is that a lot? Somebody in the United States is arrested for marijuana every 42 seconds. Freest country in the world. And they're doing it at the behest of alcohol companies. And they're doing it at the behest of Vicodin, people who make OxyContin and all that stuff. They don't want marijuana legal because it's cheaper, you can grow it yourself, and they don't want the competition. Ron, you wanted to say?
Well, I was just going to add, it's also at behest of the prison industrial complex.
Of course.
You know, that statistic, unfortunately, to some very corrupt people, is good news.
It's good. Oh, they're like fantastic.
Let's get it down to 40 seconds. Let's have a nice round number.
Every 42 seconds, mostly in poor and minority communities. Our current...
Oh, really? You mean that they're not doing that in Beverly Hills? They don't go into Beverly Hills and bust people for pot every 42 seconds? Where do you think that's happening? In Baltimore? You think that's happening in South Central? You think that's happening in Compton and Watts? You think that's happening... Where do you think that's happening? In Chicago? You think that's happening on the Miracle Mile? Or do you think that's happening in Humboldt Park? Okay.
Laws are turning everyday Americans into criminals, sending them to jail, ruining their lives, tearing apart families, and wasting huge amounts of taxpayer dollars to arrest, prosecute, and incarcerate people for marijuana use.
Now, if we were really serious in this country about locking people up for illegal drug use, you would go to Wall Street and you would frisk those guys as they came to work, and I would say 6 to 7 out of 10 of them would be in jail that day. Because they're all cokeheads. And if they're not, they're smoking pot and they're doing meth. They're doing all kinds. Those guys are nuts. Wall Street bankers. Those guys are nuts. They're not good people. And they're mostly drug addicts who spend their lunch hours at strip clubs. And they've turned investment banking into casino hopping. And then when their investments go belly up, they get the government to bail them out and they kick you out of your house. And Barack Obama and Timothy Geithner go, that's a good plan. I wonder why Trump won.
A drug that has been proven time and time again to be far less dangerous than alcohol, both for individual consumers as well as for the people around them. Dr. Donald Abrams, who's the chief of oncology at San Francisco General Hospital.
Sounds like a hippie. Some hippie doctor she's going to quote now. Who was he, the chief oncologist?
I bet he has a purity test, too.
Why doesn't he want to lock up poor people for doing a drug that's innocuous? That's how things work in America.
Has talked about how in the 37 years that he has worked and served as a physician, the number of patients that he's admitted to his hospital with marijuana complications are 0. The number of patients that he's admitted due to alcohol use is, quote, profound. So rather than actually helping people, our current laws are turning them into criminals, forever impacting their future and the future of their families. Over the years, we've spent hundreds of billions of dollars locking people up for nonviolent marijuana offenses, creating strain within our criminal justice system, clogging court calendars, and resulting in further overcrowding our prisons. Now, just a few weeks ago, I had the chance to go and visit a number of our prisons and jails in Hawaii, where I saw firsthand the crumbling infrastructure, the extreme overcrowding, and facilities in dire need of upgrades, as well as the shortage of services that are actually needed to help rehabilitate people and reduce our recidivism rates. So whether you personally think that marijuana use is good or bad, whether you would choose to use marijuana or not, the question is, should we really be sending people to jail and turning them into criminals for it? The answer is no.
But the Democratic nominee last time said yes, and so did the Democratic president. Not only that, the Democratic president said this is as bad as heroin, and it's staying that way. So there you go. There's more to her speech, but I think you get it. This is the definition of insanity. The fact that we try to pretend we're a country that values liberty and freedom, and we lock up poor people for no reason whatsoever. And again, they're not locking up pot smokers on the Upper East Side. They're not locking up people on Wall Street. They're not locking up people in Beverly Hills or Redondo Beach. You know where they're locking up people with pot? You know exactly where they're locking them up. And that's a good way to, and then, of course, the Clintons helped with the prison bill. So now you can watch, private prisons. So anyway,
I think that's just those are the job programs that they've decided in corporate America that we need. We need more prisons. We need more prison guards. We need horrible, environment for it. Anybody, it just makes me think, Jimmy, we have drug searches on our campus that are unannounced and random, and a dog will walk through the classroom. They'll have all the kids stand outside, and then if something goes amiss, they're going to take that kid out from the classroom and escort them and then prosecute.
That's crazy. What a great learning environment. What a great learning environment. Oh, the cops are here. Shit.
Well, I mean, it is preparing you for college. Come on.
So we're such a better culture, though. We're a great culture. Our culture is great. We have a fantastic. Those fucking asswipe atheists who can't fucking break their arm hard enough, patting themselves on the back for what a great culture we have. Hey, I'm an atheist too. I just don't. I see the flaws in our. I'm mature enough to see the flaws in our culture and see how fucked up we are. And your first responsibility is try to fix shit you can fix, which is our culture. I bet that will be reported the same way on CNN as we reported it here. I'm sure it'll be reported the same way on David Muir's ABC News. Or who hosts NBC now? Oh, it's Lester Holt. I'm Lester Holt. Hi. Thank God Brian Williams revealed himself to be a bag full of shit, and I get to host the NBC News. Anyway, there you go. Tulsi Gabbard, she's the real deal. It'll never happen, though, right? Because we have a corrupt government. And everyone says if you want to do something good, you can't do it because you're a fairy duster. Why? Because we have a corrupt government. That's what she's revealing. Hey, our next live Jimmy Dore show is April 24th. April 24th, live in Burbank. We do 2 shows a month, live shows. So get your tickets right down there, jimmydorecomedy.com.